Hello and welcome back to Elden Ring. Today I want to talk about Bloodstains, messages and summon signs. Basically every online feature that you can find on the ground in Elden Ring. So why do I want to talk about these things? Well, first of all, I like to talk about random ass shit, and second of all, I think there are some improvements that can be made here. So let's just start with what are these things. Let's start with bloodstains. What are bloodstains? Well, bloodstains are literal bloodstains on the ground that can be examined by people, and they're showing you that someone died here. These can be other players that died here, and in very rare cases, I think only one case, there can be an NPC, or there is a bloodstain of an NPC, and it shows you how this one NPC died. If there are multiple of these things, I have only found one of them in total, so excuse me if there are multiple things. So why do bloodstains exist in these games, or in Elden Ring at least? Because they were present in previous games, and I think this is the easy way to argue, right? They were present in previous Dark Souls titles, so they're also in Elden Ring. But they must have a reason, right? Like a gameplay reason, maybe a lore reason. For the lore is quite easy. You can see how NPCs died. And there's only one case apparently. And I can think of a few cases where they can implement more NPC dying thingies. For example, with D. It would be nice to see a bloodstain of D in the round table hold. And excuse me if I'm spoiling something here, but I think the game is already it's no longer a spoiler, right? Like 1 year and how long is this game? Or how old is this game now? 1.5 years, what, 1 year, I don't know. But for example, D could have had his own bloodstain, and Roger has his bloodstain in a special spot. And maybe if you kill an NPC, maybe there could be a bloodstain as well. Wouldn't that be nice? A nice touch. So, but why are these here? Of course, as I said, lore reasons. And then the second one, that you're not feeling alone, so to speak, because you're pretty much alone in this game, right? You're going through the majority of this game alone. Of course, there are some exceptions. If you're doing a co-op run, then you're not really alone, but you get what I'm saying, right? You're feeling a little bit isolated, even though you're online, right? This is an online feature, so that's pretty nice. It can be useful, right? The bloodstains can be useful. They can show you where there might be a dangerous spot. You can examine them. Maybe you shouldn't jump down this cliff that looks like you could survive the fall. Or maybe this cave there is fairly dangerous. Maybe there's an ambush inside. Better check the bloodstains before, right? So they can be helpful. Now let's go over to messages. Messages also have multiple reasons to exist, but first of all, what can these messages do, right? We can examine them, and then we will see the message, a possible gesture of, well, the character who wrote this message, and you can choose to upvote or downvote this message. And this is another online aspect, because while downvoting does really nothing, upvoting heals the person who wrote this message if they're online with this character, right? So if I wrote a message somewhere, and let's say I'm fighting a boss, and my message gets upvoted, I'm being healed without consuming one of my flasks over here. Pretty nice, right? So, and when the message is helpful, and it's been upvoted, then I'm not So I'm helping someone with this awesome message that I wrote, and in return they're helping me by healing me. It's a pretty cool exchange without direct cooperation. It's one of these nice aspects that you're not really feeling like you're playing this game alone. You're feeling that someone else is playing this game at some point where you wrote your message, for example. So it's a pretty nice feature overall. And of course, there are lore reasons for them to exist as well, because sometimes developers put down messages. For example, in previous games, and I'm not really sure if they exist in this game as well, but in previous Dark Souls titles, they used the message system to teach you the controls of the game, which is quite a nice way to hide a tutorial, because if you don't need to know what the controls are, if you know the controls already, you don't need to go through the tutorial, right? But I guess the tutorial is another topic for another time, maybe for the next time, who knows. So these are messages, and how do we write messages? Like, how are we going to do this? Well, the easiest way is to just go here in the menu to messages and then choose what you want to write on the ground in front of you. You can toggle between different formats, you can add gestures, you can add extra lines here, and you have to choose between these pre-built phrases and words. So why do we have to write messages like these, like this? Why do we have to go through templates and words? Why can't we just type the message in the box and that's it? Well, I thought of two reasons why that is. The first one is translation. Not everyone who plays this game can speak and understand English. So if you're writing your message in English, then not everyone can understand it. So, and translating it can cause mistakes, and it's not really, like, not everything can be translated, right? If it's, for example, like, if you're writing the sentence wrong, or if you're not using the correct signs or whatnot, I don't know, then the message isn't being translated. So it's very hard to translate your messages. And the second obvious reason is so you're not writing words that are not allowed in this game, right? Like censoring. They're censoring your speech to protect other people from possible offensive languages, right? Which is fine as well. And we can see from naming our characters, it's not really the censoring things are not working correctly. For example, if I want to call my character Knight Artorias, a famous Dark Souls character, then the NIG in Knight is being censored because of a word that I'm not supposed to write. Even though I'm not writing that word, I want to write Knight, and this is how we spell Knight, right? With the NIG in the middle. So censoring isn't really an option, even though with messages, like, it's pretty hard with names, and you could potentially go around this. If you really want to write down Knight, then you could switch the I for 1 or something, right? And then the translation is even worse because the program can't possibly translate that. So these are messages, and these two things you can find on the ground. But I wanted to talk about summon signs as well. So there is no summon sign here. Well, for some reason you need to use the fur-calling finger remedy before you can even see summon signs. So let me quickly use it. I think this is the right spot, yeah. And now I am able to see summon signs, and look, there is one, a red summon sign, but that doesn't matter. I could engage in multiplayer right here and now with another person. And I could only see this summon sign with the fur calling finger remedy, but this summon sign is red, like a bloodstain. There are also golden summon signs, and they serve different purposes. You can spawn the golden summon signs with the tarnished furred finger and the small golden effigy, and you can spawn the red summon signs with duelist's furred finger and the small red effigy. And the golden and red one, well, the golden one is for co-op, to summon a co-op partner, and the red one is for summoning a PvP opponent. With the two fingers here, the duelist and the tarnished's furred finger, you can create summon signs like that one we just saw over here. You can place them on the ground you're standing on, and then the small golden effigy and small red effigy, you can send your summon signs to close by or far away summoning pools. And summoning pools are a new feature in Elden Ring. They weren't present in the previous Souls titles, and they're at specific locations, for example in front of boss rooms or in front of dungeons and other certain locations where you can basically activate your fur calling finger remedy and summon someone, potentially summon someone, if there are people using these items. And this is also a good idea. Why are these summoning pools a good idea? Well, because you have an open world, right? You have such an open world, and they've placed the summoning pools at locations where it is, in their opinion, worth it, or where it could be worth it to summon someone, right? It's not like in the middle of the lake, there's nothing here, and so there's no reason to summon someone here, right? They've placed them at certain strategic locations. But this system also has its problems, but well, why not? Let's talk about the summon sign problem first. Oh, actually, no, let's talk about Bloodstain, the bad, quote-unquote bad things about Bloodstains and messages first, because while I was talking good about them, they can also be a little bit bad, like, because they can be annoying. Like Bloodstains and messages and potentially summon signs can be annoying. Why is that? First of all, have a look at this place. Does it look good to you with all these bloodstains and messages on the ground? To me, they're quite disturbing the view, basically. I'm sounding old now, but well, they look ugly. That's what I meant to say. They look ugly, and it feels like litter on the ground, like a dirty city right here, right? Like you're walking down the street and there's rubbish everywhere. Rubbish and dirt everywhere. It kind of feels this way. And also, if you want to play online, but you don't want to get spoiled, so you want to get the unbiased or whatever experience in this game, but you still want to play online, because sometimes you might want to summon your friend or whatnot, but you don't want to get spoiled by messages. Like, even though you're not reading the messages, when there are like 20 million messages on one spot, then there is something. There's probably something here, right? Or if you want to explore this one cave and there are like 10 million bloodstains in the ground, like, there might be something dangerous here, and you're getting prepared to defend yourself. And maybe if these bloodstains and messages are not there, then you're just going there and you're dying due to the trap. And while dying in this game is something negative, you're learning something, right? You have the original experience here, and these messages and bloodstains can spoil the experience to some extent. And if you don't care about this is fine, but I'm just pointing out things that might be a problem. So, and now the cons of the summon sign thing, contrary to too many messages and bloodstains, there are not enough summon signs. And why aren't there not enough summon signs? Well, because why would I use the fur-calling finger remedy when I'm just playing through the game? Like, just imagine we could see summon signs without the usage of the fur-calling finger remedy. I'm just going through the world and all of a sudden, maybe maybe there's a summoning pool, but usually I wouldn't use the fur-calling finger remedy. I'm lazy, I don't want to use this thing, right? But imagine now I would pass by a summon sign. So let's imagine I don't need to use this item and I just see a summon sign, then I might click on it, I might summon this person. But I'm definitely not using the fur-calling finger remedy here. And it even debuffs you, and excuse me if this information is wrong now, but I'm fairly sure, and feel free to correct me when that's not true, but when you use the fur-calling finger remedy, you can while this effect is active, you can no longer summon your spirits. Like when you're in a spirit summoning zone and the fur-calling finger remedy is up or active, you can no longer summon spirits. Like, which is it here? Like, wrong button. Which button do I need to click here? Nope. What button now? Down? Man, I can't even remember how to use these buttons. I haven't played this game in so long. Oof. But you can't use your spirit bell anymore. And this is something that's like, it feels like the developers don't want us to use the fur-calling finger remedy. Like, they don't want us to initiate co-op, or, well, in duels you're not really using the spirits anyway, but for co-op specifically. And there are so many things wrong with co-op. I'm not talking about co-op now, but or multiplayer in general, but this is one of these things. Like, why does the fur-calling finger remedy even exist? It's probably there to balance out the game and prevent some bugs and glitches maybe with spirits and with co-op partners, but there's probably another way to that thing, or to the solution, right? And now to the other problem with too many bloodstains and not enough messages. How could we potentially fix this mess here if you don't want to see these things but still play online? Well, the easiest thing I think of is in the system, under maybe game options, just put a toggle bloodstains or toggle messages and on and off button. Or maybe I just want to see messages but no bloodstains, or maybe I just want to see bloodstains but no messages. Just put a toggle on and off button here and that's it. And even though, like, let's say I'm toggling these things on and off, then make it so that I can still see the messages and bloodstains that are placed by the developers. Because, to be honest, like, I haven't found Roger's bloodstain the first time I went down to that hole. Do you know why? Because there were like 10 million bloodstains at the same location. So, and I'm not clicking on every single bloodstain. Why would I? It feels like a waste of time, right? So, I've never seen like Roger dying to that death blade that was down there. I've never seen that, and then I was wondering why are his legs all fucked up all of the sudden. So you're missing story bits with that, even like with this online feature. So, well, this is basically all I want to say. Get rid of the fur calling finger remedy would be my contribution basically, and give us a toggle on and off button. So this is how I would make this system or improve this system in my eyes. But let me know how you see these things. Do you think that these would have been improvements? Can you think of other improvements? Do you like Bloodstains? Do you like summon signs? Do you like messages and all of that stuff? Let me know in the comments, and that's it from me. Goodbye.